What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Day One Radio right here on Live Hip Hop Daily. I'm Maurice Garden, and here with my man DP. What's going on, man?
Ain't nothing, bro. How was your holiday weekend, man?
I mean, I guess it was good. Like, I didn't do much for the actual, like, holiday. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of just like, oh, man, like, it's Monday. You know what I'm saying? How was yours, man?
It was cool, man. Kicked it a little bit. Went to House in the Park, which was real dope.
So it was. I heard a lot of conflicting reports, like, because I've only been to House in the Park once. It's never been like my thing, but I've always knew that it was a big thing to do, and I heard a lot of folks complaining leading up to it because of how the park was going to be this year.
Well, if you don't live in Atlanta, House in the Park is an event that's been going on for about the last 14 years, where some of the best house DJs come out and they spin soul and house at a park. So this year was the first year they charged for it, and this year was also the first year the park is under construction. So they moved it to a different part. I thought it was cool. They was kind of tripping with the capacity issues, but I think that's more like police and fire than it is the Weekender, who is the people who put it on. So, I mean, bro, I just walked up and showed my ticket and walked in. I wasn't really finna deal with all the lines and all of that stuff. So, but it was cool. I liked the setup. They have vendors and stuff. Like, people seem to be having a great time at the end of the day. I know we had to, get a few people in that came later, but overall, I thought it was cool. And I'm not even a big house head like that, but just to see people having fun, dancing, being free, it's always great energy, man. So I did that and went to the Bobby Brown, the Bobby Q, as they call it. Apparently Bobby Brown has like barbecue sauce and dry rub and stuff in stores. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
Mac is over there shaking because he's from Boston, and there's 15 black people from Boston, so he knows all of their businesses. So like him, Guru, and the dudes from New Edition. That's about it. But yeah, it was pretty good. I had a little bit of it, but yeah, BET did a little event or whatnot because his special is coming on this week. By the time you guys hear this, it will already air. But if BET runs like BET, it will be running every other day for the next 12 months. So you guys will have ample opportunity to see it. But the fun will be watching Twitter while it's on, for sure. But I heard it was good. One of our guys, Chris, Professor Chris, has seen, I think he saw the first episode. It's a 2-day miniseries, and he said it was solid. He said it was really good.
I mean, I can't imagine it having too much of a drop off, you know what I'm saying, from the work that they did with the New Edition story. Because, I mean, I know that in the wake of that coming out, Stephen Hill left, and there was a few other shakeups. So I was wondering, like, if the same team was going to be in place to create this time around.
Was Stephen Hill there during the making of the New Edition joint?
That was his last hurrah. That was his last.
Got you. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, yeah, I'm gonna watch it. I got the DVR set, so I'll definitely check it out. I'm hoping it's good. I wish it was like commercial free. That'd be the only thing. But I'm gonna definitely watch it. Bobby was a wild dude. For those, if y'all only know like Crooked Mouth Bobby was like that dude for a good amount of years back in the day. Like he was the dude all during the New Edition run. Yeah, and then he had that fall off with that very, very first Bobby Brown solo album. A lot of people King of Stage.
Yeah, people forget about that when they had Girlfriend on there, you know what I'm saying? But then he made that comeback with Don't Be Cruel. So like
Monster album.
Yeah, so from like 88 to I'll give him 92, 93, like right up until he married Whitney. You know
I mean, even I don't know if they were married. I went and saw the Bobby tour. For his third solo album, which had Humping Around, and We Got Something in Common.
Got to Get Away.
The album was okay. The show was phenomenal. That dude can perform. He ain't the greatest singer, whatever. That dude can perform. So major props to Bob. He was actually there. Him and his family was there at the event or whatnot. So it was pretty dope, man. Another thing we must speak on before we get into the business of the podcast, brother. Did you listen to the Eminem album, and what do you think?
I listened to it. I can say this. I can comfortably say that I got farther along on this one than I did the last one. And
I think it's only 10 songs, Maurice.
But it's like, I mean, it had its moments, but like honestly, I started tuning Eminem out years ago, and I remember the moment, like, because I was a huge Eminem fan. I'm talking about
really,
bro. Like, I put my friends up on Eminem because one of my friends in college, he was a DJ, and he had this tape with some old, well, they weren't old at the time. He just had this tape of like Sway and King Tech shows. And he like, man, there's this white boy on here freestyling, man, he going off. And he showed it to me. It was Eminem, and I was a fan from that point on. And I was like, bro, this white boy Eminem about to come out, kick everybody's ass, I'm telling you. And I got a lot of stories about that early fandom of mine, but I'll say this, I was a big Eminem fan early on. I put all my friends on it, and they were just like, nigga, this white boy, I can't relate to shit he's saying. But by the time that, I think it was Encore, because I didn't really like the Slim Shady show either, but by the time Encore came out, I was just like,
For me, it was whatever Eminem album came out in 04.
That's when I
was like, eh.
Yeah, that was Encore. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember me and my brother were listening to it. We were both huge Eminem fans. We were listening to it, and we started talking, right? And he said, hey, man, are you noticing we just talking all over this album? There used to be a time we used to listen to an Eminem album, not saying a word.
Every line, right?
You know what I'm saying? We were sitting here talking over it. So I kind of tuned him out ever since then, even though he's had his moments. But like, to this album, it's like, I don't know, man. It's like, I know me and you both being of a certain age, like, we are not big proponents or believers in that whole ageism thing in hip hop.
Not at all.
But listening to this album, it's like, I felt like, bro, like, it's okay for you to sit down. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's okay for you, of all rappers, to be like, let me sit down. Like, granted, as I've learned over the years, a lot of older rappers still have that same love and passion, which we can't knock. But it's like, listening to it, I was like, I didn't hear anything on there really that was like, oh man, I can't wait till the next one come out. Because this was supposed to be like a surprise album. It's supposed to lead up to an official one. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like, nothing on there was like, oh man, I can't wait to hear what you got to say the next time around. But like, I know my thoughts were all over the place on that.
Before I get into my thoughts on the album, I just got to ask you this. If Eminem stops rapping, what is he going to do? But he has to do. Dude, he's an addict. He has to do something. His daughter is grown. He's not good at running a label. Clearly, we've seen that. Mm-hmm. Like, what is he gonna do?
Host a show on his own damn Shade 45 station. Shit.
I would definitely listen to Eminem show.
Because we are seeing right now that rappers are starting to go the way of our favorite athletes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When our athletes sit down, they end up on TV. We're seeing rappers do the same thing, whether it's Joe Budden with his podcast. You know, Merce pretty much took over Hip Hop DX.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
and that's enough. I was listening to his XXL Source thing.
Yeah, I saw
it out the other day. I was like, you don't really fully know what you're talking about.
It started off strong.
Yeah.
It started off strong, but then it's like, yeah.
I felt like he had a minute allocation he needed to hit, and it didn't. Right. He was just filling it up.
Yeah.
But the Eminem album, Kamikaze, I think is cool. I like that he's not producing everything. I like that, Boy Wonder and S1 and Mike Will are on there, and that gave it kind of a new sound. I feel like he's not writing every hook. We don't have a white girl singing on every hook, which was his formula for a minute. Yeah. But I like that he definitely feels like invigorated. I really felt like Eminem was just rapping to be rapping for a very long time. Most definitely. I feel like he's actually feels like he has something to rap about now, which is cool. Some of the songs I'm not feeling, but I like that he addressed the D12 thing on Stepping Stone. I thought that was cool. The end of the album kind of flounders a little bit. Like, the fall song is dope, but like, the nice guy, good guy thing was great in theory, but it don't really.
And I think that's why I stopped that. It's like the first one I was like, yeah, and I started skipping. Then I got to that second half of that, and I'm like, yeah. I think that's where I got lost at.
It's just funny though, because like that and the normal song are about relationships and stuff, but we have no idea who he's dating anymore because he don't really talk about it. So it's like it kind of loses its weight from when he was rapping about Kim all the time. You know what I mean? Because we don't know what goes on with his life. He's somewhere in the cut in Michigan. Probably ain't got a neighbor for 5 miles in each direction, so we don't really know what's what.
Right.
But I appreciate, like they said, it's gonna do the equivalent sales are like 300-something thousand or whatever, which is cool. I just, it's good that people are paying attention.
I mean, yeah, because
to somebody that's actually rapping.
This is the most I've heard people that are in my circumference. Because I don't know who these millions of people that were listening to these other albums are.
Right.
But to your point, you was asking me how my weekend was for Labor Day. Like, there were definitely people at the pool where I stay at. I was like, they're listening to that Eminem loud as hell. Like, this is the first time I've heard Eminem blasted out in public, in the air, in a long time. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, good for him. But yeah, as far as like, I'll give it another try. But I guess like his voice and the
his voice a little
all
annoying.
that, it's like it gets on your nerves.
What about did you how do you feel about the MGK response?
I haven't listened to that yet.
It's all right.
Okay,
it's pretty good. I'm not a Machine Gun Kelly fan, never have been, but I like that he had the balls to respond. Mm-hmm. I like that he recognizes him as a legend and damn near says, I know you're a better rapper than me, but you still out here on some bullshit, and I'm going to call you out on your bullshit. And I respect that to an extent because it's funny, people were like, oh, he going to kill him. I was like, when has Eminem ever battled or dissed a reputable rapper in his career? Like, the closest we going to get is Ja Rule. Like, said the name, diss somebody. He picks on pop stars and public figures, which is, that's easy. That's easy bait. So now you have somebody that responded, and I've never been a Machine Gun Kelly fan, but he's credible enough to, get in the ring and spar.
I haven't heard the song, but I do give it up to him because it seemed like everybody else was on some fan stuff, like, oh my God, Eminem said my name, and it's like, what? Like that's how things operate now. You know what I'm saying? Like,
because people be scared. They don't want that smoke, man. Eminem is keeping the lights on at a lot of different buildings, bro. So it's not so much yes, you're a great rapper, and maybe the greatest technical rapper. Damn sure ain't the greatest of all time. Like, that's just ridiculous talk. But technical rapper, possibly. But it's you don't like. I think it's that, but it's also like, bruh, this is Aftermath, this is Interscope, this is Dr. Dre, this is 50. Aftermath is also Kendrick. Aftermath is also TD. Yeah. That's a lot of people that you gonna have to have issues with if you say something crazy. Even somebody was bringing up Royce in the whole thing with MGK. I was like, don't nobody want to smoke with Royce. Not right now. That dude is in the zone right now. The song with Royce is pretty good, so I like how he was rhyming a bunch of stuff that didn't make sense. Right. It was like, we're not alike, so that was cool. But did you, I ran into Crit in New York the other day, and he was talking about the Bun album, and I listened to half of it. I got to really sit with it. But have you listened to Bun joint yet?
Yeah, I listened to it, and there's song, I listened to it, and there were songs on there that I liked more than others.
Gotcha. Yeah, I got to sit with it for real. I haven't really gotten deep into it. Before we get into this interview, though, man, obviously we must talk about the Nike Just Do It campaign for the 30th anniversary. I saw, again, when I was in New York, I saw the big Serena thing. I think it's on like 34th. They just got a rolling digital joint, and it was like girls from Compton don't play tennis. They dominated or whatever. I was like, I thought that was ill. And the one with the brother that the Seattle pro football team drafted has one arm. I think he went to Central Florida. His is pretty dope. Like, who would ever thought a kid like this would make it to the pros? Me. I thought that was hard. But the one that got everybody attention was this Colin Kaepernick joint, which went super viral yesterday. And even USA Today had Tariq Nasheed write something.
What?
On it, yeah, bro.
USA Today, he got Tariq Nasheed to write something? What?
Yeah, that was a man, friend of the show. I don't know if you also, on a super side note, did you see the he had us on the on his travel show on YouTube?
I heard that the episode dropped. I haven't watched it yet.
So we got a nice little part in there, which is dope. But so what I've been seeing both. I've been seeing this is commerce and there's nothing, conscious about this. And then I've been seeing, oh, Nike is the greatest, yada, yada, yada. I'm kind of somewhere in between. But I was curious to know what you thought about it.
I subscribe to the thought where I don't think that there has to be anything wrong with commerce and activism running congruently, because you can't help folks if you ain't generating money. I mean, there's other ways to invest in people. You know what I'm saying? You can invest time, energy, all those things, but a lot of movements for the things that people want to see shifted in the world, you're going to have some kind of like commerce element to it. So like in this context, I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't see it as a movement getting co-opted for $1. I mean, this man was doing this before this. He's going to keep doing it without him. You know what I'm saying? Because Nike can come back and be like, oh, man, you know what? We made a terrible mistake. This backlash is killing us. We're going to have to terminate this. We're sorry. He's still going to keep doing what he's doing. So I don't see this as something where it's like a movement has been co-opted. So I think that commerce and activism can run hand in hand when it's done correctly. So I feel very good and positively about, you know what I'm saying, what they're attempting to do. We don't know everything that's in store yet, because there's still like a lot of conflicting reports as to like what's involved. All that we see now is the ad. I've seen conflicting reports about him having apparel and all that kind of stuff. So we don't know that yet. But so far, man, it's like I'm not mad at it. And it's about time that, you know, somebody put their neck out there. Like, great, it is for commerce as well, but put their neck out there and stop acting like these things are not intersectional, like sports and politics sit on two different sides of the room all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like activism and, you know what I'm saying, all that, like all these things are just so separated. So I'm glad that somebody did stick out there and to be like, look, man, we talk about all these things in the same rooms all the time and they all affect each other. Like, we got to stop acting like they don't.
I'm with you 1,000% on that, man. I think people are going to complain about anything. At any point. It don't matter who's putting it out, people gonna complain, because those same people that are upset with it will be like, well, how come nobody's stepping up to have our back? I think the interesting thing is that Nike got the NFL contract, I believe, for the next 10 years.
Yeah, they do.
So, I mean, clearly that conversation was had, but with the powers that be over there, and clearly they crunched the numbers based on their analytics to see how much business they would lose or how much business they would gain, and decided to pull the trigger on it. Like you said, there are conflicting reports. I've heard that there is an apparel thing and there's a shoe thing coming out of this. I've also heard that he's been signed for a minute, but that doesn't mean anything. Like, there's so many athletes that are signed to Nike that don't have money deals. They have apparel deals, meaning that they send you clothes and shoes, and that is your endorsement. You know what I mean? So I don't know what the deal. Nobody knows what the deal is other than him and his agent at the end of the day. I truly doubt that earlier this year Mark Smith would have spoke publicly about saying they wanted to sign him to Adidas if he signed a contract, if it was an ironclad deal.
Yeah.
That's when you reach that level in the game, you know what to say publicly and what not to say publicly. So if it was one of them situations where everything was all good with Nike and Colin Kaepernick and it was ironclad, I truly doubt somebody from Adidas would be speaking on it publicly. So whatever it is, the fact that he is one of the faces of this campaign is major, and it says a lot. And you got idiots, you know, burning their shoes and burning apparel.
We were just talking about that earlier, man. It's like that behavior is like it's just rooted in hatred. Cause like it's just rooted in hatred. Like, there's nothing else that you can say to defend that action. I'm cutting the Nike switches off my socks. I'm burning my Nikes. It's like, for what? That man did not do nothing to you. And the man never came out and said anything disrespectful to anybody. He never said anything disrespectful to any military person. He don't say nothing. I was reading in the New York Times today. This man has not did one interview since he knelt. The last interview he did was those interviews for his last few games when he was doing the press conferences after the game. Like, oh, man, the 49ers lost 39-3, but what's up with this kneeling thing? And he would give them an answer. You know what I'm saying? He is not, like, even when he was on the cover of GQ, there's no interview in the magazine.
It's fashion spread.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like he ain't been talking to nobody. You know what I'm saying? They were talking about how that has become like his power. You know what I'm saying? Because even the things he posts on his Instagram page would be his girl. You know what I'm saying? Post half that stuff.
I've had people tell me that they feel like they're okay, you know, to not boycott the league because they're waiting for him to say something and he hasn't said anything. And my thing is, bruh, he ain't gotta say. He said what he had to say.
Yeah.
What is the point of speaking the same thing? Ain't shit changed.
Right.
We still out here getting knocked down by police, and police ain't going to jail. So, what more is there to say?
Right.
If military people, black and white, are standing up and saying that they don't have a problem with this, then what is the issue?
Right.
Like, Americans are really confused. Like, you had the same people who were prop Ali up for going against the Vietnam War, but they were against it back then. They were against what he had to say back then. Who are also the same people who think the Vietnam War is something we should have never been involved in, but champion John McCain for being a war hero. You can't have it both ways. Like, either you with the shit or you not.
I mean, like most folks that love Ali are the same people that love Martin Luther King and
because clearly
Martin Luther King was dead and Ali couldn't talk.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And they're clearly, because at this rate, with the last numbers I crunched, there were 18 million people that marched with Dr. King. Because everybody marched with Dr. King if you asked they ass in 2018. I wish King was alive so he could be like, you wasn't with me when I was shooting in the gym?
Right. You know what I'm saying?
Come
I
on,
ain't
man.
see you out there.
So, yo, we appreciate y'all listening for sure, man. And continue to vote for us for Best Podcast on Creative Loafing. Before we go into the interview, you going to One Music Fest this weekend?
Yes, I am. And it's crazy because, like, I realized earlier today, like, how close it is. Like, it is this damn weekend.
Yeah, I didn't realize it is. Who are you looking forward to seeing?
I'm looking forward to seeing Crip. I just really be liking just being in the environment,
Gotcha.
really. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I just really just like being in the environment, you know what I'm saying?
I still haven't seen Rhapsody perform.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen her perform. I wanted to see Brandy, but she's on vocal rest, so she won't be there. But yeah, I'm cool. It's gonna be some surprises for sure, but I definitely want to see Rhapsody for sure, and her for sure. It was somebody else I wanted to see. George Clinton.
George Clinton, yeah.
I want to see George Clinton. I know that shit's gonna be mania as hell. Clinton is crazy, bro. But yeah, I'm looking forward to. If you don't have your tickets yet, make sure that you go to, what is it? Just Google One Music Fest Atlanta.
And the VIP tickets are gone.
VIP tickets are sold out. It's at Central Park. It's gonna be super cracking. You don't want to miss out. They've had great moments in the past. There will be great moments again this weekend. As I was saying earlier in the show, I was in New York earlier a few days ago and sat down with a friend of ours, friend of the show, Rob Markman, journalist and MC. Was an MC before he was a journalist,
right.
But most of y'all didn't know that until he came out with Right to Dream, man. It was a pretty ill interview, and it just shows you how synergy works. A lot of the things we were talking about as far as ageism and stuff like that are things we were talking about in the interview. So we're going to go into a quick break, man, and go into this interview with Rob Markman of Genius. Rob Markman, the MC. Hit it.
Hey, what it do, man? It's your boy Tommy Quan, and right now you're listening to Day One Radio.
On the road once again, Day One Radio Podcast. My brother Maurice is not here with me today, but we are in gentrified Brooklyn.
We are definitely in gentrified Brooklyn.
Talking to the homie, man. Y'all know him as a journalist. Y'all know him as an artist. I know him as one of my colleagues, one of my friends for many years, Rob Markman. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. First of all, yeah, we are in gentrified Brooklyn, but, I'm from old Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Not that new shit, like Jay said. But, it's definitely changed. Man, thank you for having me. I miss Maurice, man. We got to do this. I got to go down.
Yeah, you got to come to Atlanta.
South.
You got to come to the studio. We got to kick it and have a good time, man. You already know what it is.
But I'm glad we doing this, brother. I'm so proud, to actually be here. And we'll probably get into it, man. But I don't even know if you know how much I looked up to you when I first started in the game, coming into XXL. I was lost. I didn't know which way was up and which way was down and where we was going to end up. And I just seen how cool, calm, and collected you handled everything, even in the most precious situations. So a lot of times I would just try to kind of follow your demeanor and kind of never let them see you sweat. It's real shit.
That means a lot, man. Now, you was always one of the cool ones. The people I keep in contact with from those years were definitely the cats that was solid.
Right. And you were like that, too. You could tell it was no fronting with you. It was like, okay, you know who you rock with and you know who you don't rock with.
Right.
It was cool to be on cool side of the fence.
For sure. Well, hey, it's not about me, man. It's about you today, bro. So we gonna get into it. Like, I think I'm one of the few people that I knew you rapped.
Yeah.
Back then, you know what I mean? But I was listening to like interviews you were doing. I never knew that was a conflict of interest. That, cause I remember the BK Syph that never sold crack t-shirts, all of that stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense to me. Like, it's cool. It's not like you're reviewing your music in the magazine and giving yourself a XXL. Like, I never knew that ended up being a conflict of interest.
Yeah. And it wasn't like I was also positioning myself to,
not at all.
Like, yo, get in the magazine and give me a verse and I'll get you in the magazine.
Right.
Like, I respect the game way too much for any of that. So I never treated it as a thing. It was just something that I love to do. And I thought everybody knew at the time. Like, it wasn't a secret. I was on Two Dope Boys. I was on That Right. It just came to me. I guess the situation came to me late one night. Fuck it, I say it, man. It's cool. But Daytwan was the editor-in-chief, but he was on his way out.
Right,
He was moving and making other moves. So there was only so much he could hold together. And it was one night he called me and he's like, look, man, they having meetings. I've been trying to stop them and trying to shield you from it. But, Dennis Page and Vanessa, who was the chief at the time, like, man, they talking about letting you go behind this rap shit. And, man, it was I had a lump in my throat. Like, this was like a late night call. This was like at midnight. The wife and kids are sleeping. I could barely pay the bills at XXL. If I'm being real, like, I had bought a house in Staten Island and moved out of Brooklyn. When I was working in the mailroom and freelancing, like, so I had things before I got into the music industry. When I got to XXL, when I got to Harris, I was making less money than what I was making in the mailroom.
I believe it.
And so it was a struggle financially for me to hold on to the things that I had built for my family prior to getting into the music industry. So at this point, I'm just trying to hold on. So I'm like, damn, if they gonna fire me over rap. And he's like, look, man, I'm just warning you, man. Like, I don't want you to get caught out there. I feel really bad. I don't think there's nothing else I could do to kind of help you. Like, they supposed to have this meeting with you, blah, 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 blah. And if you know Daytwan's a solid individual.
Daytwan's
like, that's
super
a man
solid.
of his word.
Always.
And so I stopped. I just was like, all right, I got to stop rap. I can't choose rap over my family. I can't lose. If I lose this job, I might lose my house. I could barely pay this mortgage with the job that I had. If I lose this job, man, it's all going to fall down. Like Kanye say, all right, so you got to put the rap to the side. And that was my thing. But the meeting never happened. What I had realized was, one, I wasn't doing anything wrong. I was doing what I loved. I can understand why people would question it, but it hurt me that they never quite sat me down and questioned, or at least to see where I was coming from. And, but the meeting never came. They never met with me. I just stopped rapping and, kept doing what I was doing, hustling on the magazine side, and because I love journalism too. Right. And what I had realized was, like, it was paying me so little money and getting so much out of me, they wasn't going to get rid of me anyway, man. I'd have had to murder somebody to get...
That's a whole nother conversation. We both been down that road. That's a whole nother conversation for sure. So you have many years in between, coming out with Right to Dream and what you were doing back then. And, like, for those who don't know, like, you were very active. You were doing shows, putting out mixtapes, the whole nine. This is my question. What, other than obviously maturing as a man and maturing as an artist, what is the difference as an artist, as an MC, between BK Syph, which was the last name, and Rob Markman?
I think the difference is it's more me. Like, even with BK Syph, I would do more rap things or try to keep up with rappers and keep up with trends and try to fit in and with dreams of maybe, blowing up or, you know what I'm saying, or having it. Now, kind of as Rob Markman, it's just really, truly a form of expression. Like, it's really just my therapy. I don't care if I get 1 or 1 million streams. It don't matter to me. You know what I mean? I just got to a point in my life, you just want to do what you love. Yeah. And I didn't want to look back on my life like shoulda, coulda, woulda. Like, I just want to do what I love and express myself how I love and rock with the people who rock with me. Like, you know, it's not necessarily about trying to get a deal anymore. I don't even know how that would work in my life.
Or if it's necessary.
Right. So, you know, it's just kind of doing things on my terms and, you know, expressing myself and just having another outlet for creativity.
Do you feel like it's for yourself and for other artists? Obviously, you can't speak for other artists, but to an extent you can. Do you feel like the better music comes from when you're doing it for art or when you're doing it for survival?
I mean, I think it's nothing like, I love the artistic, you know, stuff, but man, when you're doing it for survival sometimes, which is, I think is different from doing it for money. Like, I feel like when you do it for survival, it's not that DMX was an artist, but when you heard X's voice, you was like, man, it's for survival. Like, you know, when you hear Pac, you know, to an extent, Kendrick, you know what I'm saying?
It's kind of like the difference between, like, I don't know where my next meal is coming from, and I don't know where my next Benz is coming from. Like,
you know, but, and the art side of it too, you know, and I don't know, that's an interesting question. Right now, I would probably say survival. It's nothing better than hearing the hunger in the young MC's voice, you know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
And you know, parts of me is like, preservation of culture is important to me too. And this stems from survival. I'm talking about just the survival of hip hop, as hip hop has to evolve, right? And kind of my mission right now is, I just want to preserve. I don't want to stop hip hop from growing and changing, but I don't want to lose the core elements of what we are as a community, as a culture. And I feel like that stuff is getting lost. So a lot of the music I feel like I've been making lately is survival in that aspect of, like, preservation of culture, like survival of us.
Right. So let's talk about the last song you dropped. I think we lost the culture.
Yeah.
I was like, when I first heard it, I was like, I wondered that at any point did you feel like, damn, I feel this way, and if you listen to me and watch me, you should know I feel this way. But me being a journalist and being a gatekeeper to an extent, I don't want people to think I'm coming across like I'm hating.
Yeah, because I'm not a hater, man. Like, I mean, you know me. Every record, every artist that I meet, every time I press play, I go into it expecting to like it, expecting to find some redeeming quality. Like, it was the same thing when I was at Double XL. I was the music editor, and I would press play for you know, we used to do the review section.
Yeah.
It was up to you to disappoint me. Like, but when I press play, I'm like, man, there's something in here that I'm like. But I was always that type of fan too. I was the type of fan that, you know,
open-minded.
Growing up in Brooklyn, I had everybody's out. Like, you know, I had Biggie, Ready to Die, and I had Souls of Mischief, 93 to Infinity. And I had Pac strictly for my, you know, people used to come over to the crib like, what you doing with this Pac CD? And I'm just like, yo, I know Big and him have his problems.
Right.
But Pac is dope. Like, I remember the first time I heard my mom's playing Tricks on Me, and I kept rewinding it to the tape pop. So I was always kind of open-minded. I was always seeking out new stuff. And I think, long story short, like, in my professional career, I always approach it with that open mind. So I'm not a hater, but some of y'all drop shit that I can't stand.
There's no redeeming quality to it. I always say, like, I can even appreciate well-executed bullshit.
Right.
Like, what's the kid that's popping now? Sheck West. I love that Mo Bamba song. He ain't talking about nothing, but it's a good song. Like, it feels good. The energy is good. Like, I can respect well-executed, I'm just doing it to have fun, because we've always had that.
Right.
It's not like every rapper in 92 was the caliber of Nas or Ray. That wasn't the case.
You know, I had this conversation with Lil Yachty, and I'll be honest, I like Yachty a lot as a person, as a kid.
Yeah.
I'm not here rocking to all of his music like that. There's a couple of songs, but I think we've had some dope interviews because I went in it to try to understand them.
Right.
We were talking one time. He came on the Genius show on For the Record, and our set, there's a bunch of records in the room. And off camera, we started talking about Kid and Play.
Yeah.
Because there was a Kid and Play record on display. And I was like, yo, I'm going to tell you what, man. Kid and Play wasn't respected, you know, when we talk about lyrical rap and this and that. And it was Rakim and it was Kane.
Yeah.
And Kid and Play were not in that conversation. but we love Kid and Play because it was fun. I was like, hip hop always had fun. Like, don't worry, like, just be you and keep having fun. Like, that's important as well, because if everything was super lyrical, super artsy, super cerebral, hip hop would be boring.
Very much so. It's all about balance. So what do you think we have lost in the culture, and what can we do to get it back?
You know, I think hip hop at its best, and if you notice that record, I think we lost the culture, right?
Right. So not you took away the culture, but
nah, we
everybody.
like collectively, like even me, I even talk about the media, you know, the media full of shit too, because most of these sites only care about a click through.
Yep.
I be lying, but I'm guilty of this shit too. I be interviewing artists that I ain't even into.
Right.
Like, I'm not divorcing myself from this conversation. I say all that to say I think hip hop's strength is community. Hip hop is best when it's communal, when it's about us. You know what I'm saying? And I think right now a lot of what we lost is that community. You know, whether it's separated from lyrical rappers and quote unquote mumble rappers, or old heads and young heads. Like, it's all this divisiveness, and our culture is being taken from us, and things are being dictated by people who aren't from it. Like, we're from it. And, you know, I'm afraid, you know, you see that that scene, you know, in Mo Better Blues between Denzel and Wesley, when they start talking about, you know, Denzel's like, man, you out there in the bandstand, you see it's everybody but our people in the crowd. Da-da-da. And then Wesley is like, well, you don't play what the fuck the people like. If you play what the people like, they show up. We seen the same shit happen with jazz. That was about jazz. Yeah. We seen the same shit happen with rock and roll, to the point where rock and roll is not even black music anymore, considered black music. Hip-hop gave me everything. I don't know about you. Like, or I know about you.
Yeah.
But whoever's listening, but hip-hop gave me everything, man, in my life. It will break my heart for us to lose it. You know what I'm saying? As a community. So,
do you feel like because it has become so inclusive that we're losing so many things?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's the gift and the curse. It allows us to be the most popular genre. First of all, I always thought we were the most popular genre for years. Like, I guess we got streaming data to prove it now, but hip-hop always been the shit. You know, when I seen Sex in the City, when I seen Sarah Jessica Parker rocking hoop earrings and nameplate belts, I said, God damn it, that's hip hop.
All day.
That's us. So we've always been the most influential. But the more inclusive you get, you know, the more you lose a grip on it. And it's scary, and it's a balance, because you got to grow and stuff like that. But, you know, we want to be in control of our own shit. We want to be in the driver's seats of our own shit and have some say about where this culture goes, because it means something, man. It's not just music. You know, hip-hop, the music is the small part of it, man. Like, it is really just kind of a way of life. It's how we greet each other. It's how
it's everything.
Yeah, how we interact with each other. So, to answer your original question, if hip-hop is communal, I think the part that we lost, or the part that's kind of breaking, is when everything is so me-focused and everything is becoming attention. Of course, that's always been there. Somebody's gonna say, "Well, that's always been there." Like, since battling, I'm the best MC. You're not. Da da da. But I think we're just losing a sense of community, and it's becoming more me. Look at me. Like. Attention. And you know,
it's ironic that you brought up the other genres too. I remember I was at the Players Championship and golf tournament in Florida, Jacksonville, and Sam Hunt performed, and Sam Hunt is a country artist with some soul. Like, he redoes This Is How We Do It and all of that. Like, I had never heard his music. I was very impressed with his show. Like, I was entertained, and I get on the shuttle going back to the cars, and I overhear some older people like, that's not the country I grew up on.
Right.
My kids like this. So I was like, wow, this is across everything.
Oh, now you know how it feels now, huh?
Right.
Billy.
Right. This is across everything. For you, man, you kind of, I want to, well, you tell me if you feel the same way. I feel like, to an extent, you entering into rap and publicly and releasing music and taking the love and taking the brunt, to an extent, made it okay or more comfortable for artists to enter into our sector and start doing the podcast, start talking about the culture. Because for a long time, artists, unless they had beef with somebody, would be afraid to critique other artists or artists, if they weren't in the same crew or looked up to somebody, would be afraid to show them love. Now you have Nori, now you have Joe Budden, now you have, and really on Twitter, like artists are more comfortable talking about the music. Do you think people paying attention to you kind of spur some of that?
Nah, man, my ego isn't that big.
I don't think it's an ego thing, though.
I think I'll say this. First of all, Joe and Joe is somebody who I know. Joe gonna do what Joe is gonna do. Joe was kind of built for this. People forget that Joe used to be the morning show host for Hot 97
and was on YouTube early.
And, Joe Budden TV very early. So I think Joe always had a knack for this. Even if you listen to his song "Who Killed Hip Hop," it was like 15 minutes. That was like culture commentary. So he was even doing it in the music. Nori, again, another friend of mine. I could see Nori when Nori was making the transition. Should I? Shouldn't I? He and I talked a lot about how to approach interviews, how to approach media. He would call me and ask me what I thought and ask for advice. So, I'm happy
That's
to
good
say,
to know.
I'm happy to say that I may have been, just a small part of that. The same way I call him to ask about rap and how you go about this thing, or I call Royce. I hit Royce up a lot for advice. I hit Push up for some advice. Community. It just goes back to community again, because I think it's all shit. I think it's great that they're entering into the media field. It definitely makes it harder for traditional media people.
Right.
But how is it different from boxing? Like it's really somebody who's been in the ring might see something a little different.
Yeah.
The way Joe breaks down albums and breaks down lyrics is a little different.
It's very different.
He comes from it. Daytwan had told me that, I guess, when Daytwan found out that I rapped, and when we were working at XXL, he said that's why your interviews are a little different. Mm-hmm. He's like, you might not have the success of the people that you're interviewing, but at least you know what it's like to create something, to create something, to get something out.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to have kind of that knowledge of what it takes to create and to be that vulnerable, and it makes your critique just a little sharper.
I feel like most of us, I don't want to say, most people that work in hip hop to an extent have whether it was very unprofessionally or amateurly, rapped, DJ'd, tried to make beats, something. You know what I mean? I don't think it's very few people that have a say these days that never tried nothing.
Absolutely.
I think you just stayed at it. Yeah. That's the difference.
Absolutely. Listen, man, there's people in media right now who I used to be in groups with, who I may have did tracks with, who like prominent people who you'll never know that they rap.
Right.
Like, and I think, because we were growing, once you got into media, there was a stigma around it, and you were taught that it was something wrong to do it. Because also in hip-hop, nobody wants to fail. The same thing, how on Instagram they say nobody ever broadcasts their failure. So nobody ever wants to be known as a failed rapper,
right,
or a failed DJ or failed whatever who couldn't make it, so you landed on journalism. It's a humbling thing to say and to do. So, but now that I release the music, I walk into different publications or different labels, and people will kind of stick their head out of cubicles. Yo, I rap too.
That's dope.
I do that too. Like, which is cool. Dope. I'm glad, and I get people who hit me and say that, yo, I'm inspired. I want to go back into the studio.
That's dope, man.
And people, I have friends from all walks of life now going back in the studio. It ain't for everybody, man.
Right.
It ain't for the weak. But try it. Who am I to tell you no?
Nah, that's real. It's funny, man. Like, somebody sent me a picture, like maybe 2 years ago, of me in college in the basement of one of the dorms rapping. And I was like, that's crazy. That was so many moons ago. And
you probably had bars, too, because the way you passionate about the shit and the quality of the shit.
As you say, you telling a story is telling a story. Period. Whatever the medium is, telling a story is telling a story, for sure. Your sons, man, like what do they, especially as they getting older, what is their opinions on your music?
I don't know that they listen to my music very much. Like, they'll hear it on the radio and bug out. My youngest son likes it. He was just like, I curse too much because I guess they never hear me. They listen to Write the Dream. They listen to the project. and they came to some realizations about maybe who their dad was. So they had a lot of questions about, you know, the intro I'm talking about. You know, the album starts off, I almost got shot today.
Right.
And they was like, wait, what happened? Like,
and
so I'm telling them that story. Or I'm doing on the song Jason's lyric. They didn't get it at first, of course.
The nuance.
Yeah, but I'm retelling Biggie's Somebody's Gotta Die through the eyes of Jason. And I had a line about my girl getting raped, but I'm playing a character. So my son, when he heard it, his eyes just, Mom got raped. And it was like, nah, bro. Like,
it's a story.
I didn't realize that it was going to hit him. So they've been very kind of curious about it. But, you know, I'm still their dad, so there's still a part of me that's cool but uncool. Like, they got to see me perform at Barclays.
Right, with the Logic thing, right.
And they were just bugged out that when we came out of Barclays, that all the fans wanted to take pictures.
That's crazy. Who do they like? Who is their
Drake,
people right now?
Drake. Andre likes Drake. He's a little more broad. Andre's the older one. He likes Drake, and he's into Bruno Mars.
Gotcha.
So he's like more pop leaning. And then Eli, the younger one, he might take more after me. So Drake is his favorite. It's between Drake and Kendrick Lamar. Okay. And it depends on the day of the week.
Gotcha.
But he doesn't really, and he's 10. Like, I mean, one time we was in the car, we was playing Lil Pump, was playing on the radio. So, you know, again, I'm not, I get it. There's a time and a place for everything. We in the car. Yeah. So I'm Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang. I'm turning up in the car.
Right.
To pump my son up just to kind of have fun. And he's looking at me like I'm the dumbest motherfucker on earth. He was like, he was like, yo, Dad, can you please change this? I was like, yo, you don't like Lil Pump? I thought, come on, Lil Pump is hot. He was like, yo, he says the same words over and over again. Can you put on Kendrick Lamar? And I was, yeah, son, we're gonna put on Dan.
Dude, it's so amazing. Like, I go and speak in schools pretty often, and I'll be like, are y'all saying that y'all like this to try to impress me because of, you know, who you perceive me to be? Or is this what you really like? And it's amazing how, like, broad the knowledge is of some of these kids with music, and amazing how much they listen to, and they're up on stuff way before most adults.
Absolutely. And you know, and I try not to, you know, I'm sure my son gets a lot of his stuff from me, his taste, but I try not to impose my will. Like, I want them to be kids. I don't want to be that parent, because my parents weren't like that with me. Like, yo, turn that music off. Oh, back in my day, it was this. So I try to never be that parent. But, yeah, my son just, you know, when Kanye says listen to the kids, bro, I also think it's a crutch that the media does, that older people in hip-hop do, is they try to front and like something just because the kids like it, quote unquote. And listen to the kids. See what the kids really like. Like, there's nuance and there's nothing wrong with Lil Pump. Like, if you like Lil Pump, that's fine. Like, that's what you're supposed to like at 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 years old.
Right.
But let's not act like these kids are, that they just think one way. There's nuance in the way these kids think. Like, we could have a Lil Pump, but remember, you know, Nas was 17, 18 when he was doing Illmatic. Bro. Like, Joey Badass, the first Joey Badass interview I ever did at MTV, he was still in high school.
Wow.
You know, when we talking about survival tactics with him and Steez. Like, so, you know, YBN Cordae is somebody that I'm super impressed by, man.
That dude can really rap.
He can rap. And he picks, you know, what's great about him is that he picks his spots. He knows kind of when to go lyrical. He knows just when to swag it out a little bit. Like, that's a cool dude. And I got a chance to talk to him just to see where his mind is at.
Right.
And he's a historian. Like, he knows hip hop. And I told him, I said, please, man, like, don't lose that. But be yourself. Be of today. I want to see this kid take it to places that, you know, like, take it further than where Kendrick took it. Like, go someplace else with it. And as long as you have that foundation, take it where it needs to go. It don't need to be the same, man.
Right. Why do you think ageism has become such a big thing in hip hop now? I people always say, "Oh, you old, young, all these young dudes," but now it feels like it's more prominent than ever.
Yeah. Well, I think part of it is going to be super conspiracy theory. I think part of it is a deliberate action by the media. Look, I work in the media.
Right.
Part of it is a deliberate action by the media, but just some people to create a division within hip hop. All right, if we have the old heads and the young heads fighting, you know, it's a way to kind of control and splinter I'm talking about the culture that we uphold. It's like it's a way to tear down certain things that's important to us. You know what I'm saying? I firmly believe that. Maybe I'm bugging, but I think it's a device used. And but there is also a natural component. You don't, we're in the generation now where these rappers, when we were coming up and you asked the rapper, well, what did your moms play in the house? It was like Al Green, Stevie Wonder. We're at the point now where, oh, yeah, my mom's listening to Biggie. Oh, that was the shit my mom listened to. And kids never want to do what their parents did. So there's a natural thing with that. But I think it's dangerous. I think the old head versus young head is like, man, that's the new East versus West. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, to an extent.
And no, both sides gotta listen to each other, man. Like, we can't so much hold on to how hip hop used to be that we're not gonna allow these kids to grow and take it to another place. But at the same time, like, don't erase us out of history. Either don't be so quick to erase us out of history. What Jay-Z doing right now is amazing. I went to the On the Run tour, and I'm like, damn, he's approaching 50. And he's doing arenas like with his wife. Like, we've never seen this. Like,
it's amazing.
You gotta understand, we of a generation, like, when Big says, I know it's cliche, but whoever thought that hip hop would take it this far,
right? We
were told constantly coming up, oh, that music is just a fad. Oh, you're wasting your time listening to that music. Right. Oh, that's not real music. Like, and I necessarily don't want to tell the kids that shit about SoundCloud rap or mumble rap, and I say that with air quotes because I don't believe those are necessarily real terms either. But yeah, man, we were constantly told that hip hop wasn't gonna last. So to see, to me, the greatest rapper of all time, just in my opinion, doing arenas with his wife at 50, making albums like 444, is dope. It's like, okay, we don't have to think about it. Damn, I know I'm going off on tangents, but the hottest rappers back then, how many albums did Kane have? Like 4?
4 or 5, yeah.
Like, if you got 4 or 5 albums in the 90s, you was a unicorn. Like, we talking about 12, 13 album careers.
Yeah.
Like,
and it makes you think because the genre is so young. I thought about this with Cardi B. Like, I was like, bro, I can probably only name 5 prominent women rappers who have actually had children. That's how small our scope of women rappers have been, which is crazy because it's so many of them out there that are dope. But it's like, that's such a rarity that this is the motherhood in hip hop is being celebrated.
Right.
That's how young this genre is, that we have something as natural as that being celebrated 40 years in.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy.
And it's great what Cardi is doing. I know it definitely, like, a lot of people was like, "Oh my God, how could she get pregnant now? She's just about to blow up," because people are rooting for her for so
that's
hard.
What I'm saying. Like, it makes it human,
right? And it's dope what she's been able to do. Like, she's definitely took time. Like, she canceled the Bruno tour,
right?
Which would have been huge for her career, but was like, "Yo, I need to spend more time with my baby."
Yeah,
and that was dope. And it still hasn't negatively affected her career. It was a life decision that she made, and she was able to make. Man, like, man, good for her, man. Like. Nah, it's definitely dope. Like, we're still seeing things for the first time. Like, let this genre grow, but, let's not cut it off at the legs. I want to see how far Jay-Z could take it, so don't talk to me about old heads. Like, look at what Snoop and Martha Stewart. Snoop has his own game show. Like, I remember
book coming out.
A book. I remember when Snoop was hosting The Price is Right for a week.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, how the fuck? Like, Murder Was the Case is hosting The Price is Right? Like, it's amazing.
I think, and I'm going to piggyback off of this as well. I think Snoop is able to do something like this because I feel like Snoop and Magic Johnson are the 2 people that are the best examples of handling fame.
Right.
Like, I've never been around Snoop and he wasn't the same dude.
Right.
Ever. He's just him. And I think that's why he's able to navigate in so many different circles. So, piggybacking off of that, how do you feel about so many people knowing your face? And no, like, is it easy to deal with? Because you have wife, kids, job, the whole 9. But is it easy to deal with that, or is it kind of a struggle to deal with people knowing your face and your name?
In real life, it's cool. Because I think I've met nothing but love and respect. Like, I'm in New York. I still ride the subway.
Yeah.
So I see people they was like, "Yo, you ride the subway?" I'm like, "Dog, I'm from New York. Like, it's the easiest way to get around. Like, I hope I could ride the subway for the rest of my life." Like, from train conductors, like all of that, and just regular people. It's cool. It tripped my kids out when we walking down the street and somebody like, yo, that's Rob Markman. And the street is cool because it's a lot of love and respect and admiration, and I give it right back.
Yeah.
It's getting to the place where online is weird because online people will say and do things online that they want. Like, I can't even tweet about something and somebody wants to make it an argument or be like, oh, you don't know what the fuck you talking about. Or, like, online is just a weirder place. So, online I find myself that I have to engage less. But in real life, I engage more because the love is kind of genuine, and
right.
I could appreciate that. So far, it's cool.
So obviously, you get a lot of love. We've seen that for sure. How do you feel about the random ass criticism that you'll get from like artists here and there? Like,
oh, you can say it.
How,
I mean, I'm not gonna play this game. I'm not gonna play this game with you. We go back too long.
We'll speak on it. Let's talk. If you don't know, I don't know what he goes by now.
No. Young Berg
was,
Hitmaka has something to say online. I don't know quite where it stemmed from. You know what? And this is the God's honest truth, man. I started out in this game writing album reviews where I had to be critical. I always felt like whenever I was critical, I always wanted to be constructive with my criticism.
Of course.
I never was just going straight kind of hate on somebody. But that comes with it. I got to say, I'm not mad at dude at all. Like, his opinion, he doesn't think very highly of my music. And that's cool. Like, what I'm going to do?
Right.
I'm gonna stop now? Like, Young Berg, and it's not even about him or Hitmaka don't like my music, I got to stop now? Nah, it's like, or anybody. Like,
right.
you know, it could be Jay-Z could have tweeted that.
Right.
You know, my favorite artist of all time, it would probably hurt.
I was going to say, if Jay-Z tweeted it, you'd be like, word.
But it you know, that it separates the boys from the men. What I'm going to do, I'm going to quit. I'm not mad, man. I've been critical of people's stuff before, and when you put art out, you got to be able to accept criticism.
Definitely.
You know, and it motivates me. It's like, okay, I'm going to do better. The fact of the matter is, too, and I'm being real with this, like, I think it was just like a couple months ago I was tweeting that, like, Sexy Ladies was my shit. Like, I wasn't mad at Berg.
Right.
Like, I fucked with his music when he was rapping. He had this mixtape, too, that I was like, oh, dude actually raps.
Yeah,
and he made hit records, and now how he kind of reinvented himself as a producer is dope. Like, do I get mad now when you know, Dangerous is the new record I think that he has with Meek Mill and Ty Dolla $ign, and when that come on the radio, do I change the channel? Nah, I turn it up.
Right.
Man, I ain't no fucking hater. It's cool, man. Like, I ain't tripping. But, you know, when you get in that booth sometimes, it's like, yo, you got the rapping. It's like, all right, we're not going to let this go in check.
Right, I'm really not going to let Young Berg come out here and diss me. I have to reply as a rapper.
Yeah, and then Joe Budden was putting gas on it and shit like that.
Of course, that's what he does.
You motherfuckers, man. But, nah, I'm not mad, man. It's like, what are you going to do, man? Like, it's cool.
For sure. What advice would you give? Because we try to give as much game as possible on the podcast. What advice would you give to a young journalist trying to enter into the business and stay in the business?
Run. Nah, because I don't know. The game was so different when I came in. Like, it was just less competition. I think it's free. I think a lot of people, I think anybody can be a journalist now.
Mm-hmm.
What I would say is survey the landfill, like what's going on, and find what's missing. Find the conversation that's missing. Find the perspective that's missing. What can you add? There's this dude, and I don't want to mess his name up. I'm gonna look him up. You know, but and also be consistent. You got to do something you love. It has to be. You have to love it because you're gonna have to be super consistent. You know what I'm saying? And there's a guy by the name of is it Valtown? You know what I'm talking about?
I'm not familiar.
Don't make me mess it up. Hold on. Let me just. Yup. His name is Brian. His Twitter is @_Val VAL town and then _. And what he does, I don't know this dude. I never met him. He would just do these Twitter threads about like Rich Porter and give the history of Rich Porter in a thread, or like Rayful Emmons. In a thread.
Wow.
So kind of like the street hustlers.
Yeah.
And then he do a whole thread about it. That's journalism to me. Like he's storytelling on his Twitter feed. I don't know who he is. I don't know what his future holds. I kind of just connected with him on Twitter and was like, yo, I fuck with what you're doing. But it was dope. It was different. Like, he didn't go to no website or wait for somebody to assign a story to him. He just started doing his research and telling these stories on Twitter, which was dope in a different way. So my advice would be to, find the voice, find the lane that is currently missing. Make sure you love it, because you're going to have to be hella consistent, and the money might not come right away. So love is going to be the only fuel you got. And then, two, kind of just embrace the new technology.
What is the interview that you want that you have not gotten yet?
Oh, man. I interviewed Jay. I want another Jay interview, though, because all my...
new person. New person. You got
new person.
I will. This maybe will help. This is mine. I would love to sit down with Bill Russell, because he really doesn't talk much.
That'd be crazy. And he with the shits.
Exactly.
Bill
Love
Russell,
it. That's mine. Like I'm trying putting that out.
So not a new person, but somebody who
just
you
period.
never interviewed.
Yeah, that you haven't interviewed yet.
I want that 3 Stacks interview, man.
Yeah,
I want that. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put a call out today. I want that 3 Stacks interview. I did this thing with Nicki Minaj, which I was really proud of. Like, when everybody was talking about everything about other than Nicki's music, Nicki's an MC, man. Nicki's a rapper at the end of the day. Like, regardless of what you feel about the antics was going on, and I wanted to treat her as such. I said, nobody's ever treated her as a rapper. I think Andre becomes this unicorn. I want to sit down. I just want to have the rap discussion with him. Break down these lines, like these lyrics. What'd you mean? When you said this, da-da-da-da-da. Just have the rap conversation with him. I think will be
it would be really interesting. I know, we do the hip-hop trivia thing, and he came to, like, the second or third one, just popped up. And played a couple rounds, and he was like, man, this shit kind of hard. I was like, well, if you're saying it's hard, it must be hard. He was like, man, I don't know a whole bunch of shit. I just know how to rap. I was like, you goddamn sure do. You damn sure know how to rap, for sure. What is the worst interview you've ever had, and did it see the light of day?
I got a couple. One of them, I've said this before, and it did come out, but it was like a phone interview, and I wrote it on MTV News, was with Chuck D. That's because, Chuck is very kind of distrusting of the media and institutionalism, so I get it. But he just started going in on me, like, man, all you care about is beef and who got their chain snatched and this and the rumor stuff. And I was interviewing him about PE and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Right.
And I'm like, Chuck, I feel you. I know what they do. Dog, I'll send you my clip. You don't know me, man. Like, trust me. Like, but he wasn't hearing it. Man, when I hung up that phone, I was sharing an office with somebody, and he was like, who was that, dog? It was the rock and roll at MTV. He was like, man, you look like you just lost your best friend. Because it's like one of my heroes just took a shit on my whole career. That hurt. Chuck, I love you, man. I look up to you. I want a do-over. I recently did an interview that it did come out to Rich the Kid for our IRL series for Genius. And I'm a fan. I'm actually a fan of Rich the Kid. I liked his album. I thought his album was very well put together. I think for what that dude, like, he's not the greatest, like, rapper, lyricist. So people like, how can you like Rich the Kid? He just has an ear for who he is and what he wants. He put together an album that really went from, like, the intro to that album, like, surprised the fuck out of me. I was like, oh shit. So I was really interested in interviewing Rich the Kid, and we did an interview with him for our show IRL, where we take rappers to go do like a real life activity plus do an interview. Right. So when we did 21 Savage, we went to a blacksmith
the knife thing. Yeah.
We were Rich, because Rich grew up skateboarding, and we was like, man, let's go to a skate park. I don't skateboard, so I'm not good at it. Show me some tricks, and he just wasn't into it. And so interview still got a lot of views, I guess, because Rich is popular, but it wasn't my favorite.
It wasn't what it was supposed to be.
And I really think Rich, I would love to have the conversation with Rich, like, because I like him as an artist, and I think his hustle and the way he fucking made his career pop is kind of ill.
You've been releasing some Lucy's and whatnot. Is there another project coming soon?
Yeah, I just decided I'm going to do another project.
Okay.
I just want to do Lucy's to build up the catalog, because I could give you one song. I dropped about 8 songs this year.
Yeah.
Just as Lucy's. which is the same as the EP, which is the same as Right to Dream.
Right.
You know, we forget. People drop music and then 2 weeks later nobody talks about it. It's very hard to maintain people's attention. I mean, there's big artists who drop a record and then 2 weeks later we're not even, oh yeah, I forgot that came out.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So I've just been doing Lucy's, but I came up with an idea for an album. Plus, for me, an album is just not a collection of songs. Like, there needs to be an idea around
concept,
it, or some theme or something like that. It don't need to be Good Kid, Mad City, but just some reason for being other than. So I actually just kind of, I know where I'm going with it now. So
gotcha. So you started recording and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. Last question, kind of a 2-part question. We talked a lot about ageism and the divide in hip hop, which should not be there. Give me an artist that a quote-unquote old head should be listening to of the new regime that you believe will open their mind, and give me an artist or a project from a young cat, from a veteran that a young cat would probably listen to and appreciate.
Okay. I guess for the old heads, definitely check out YBN Cordae. I think Cordae, he is a small body of work so far. He's dropped a couple of freestyles. You know, check out his J. Cole freestyle. He did that.
That's the one that I knew a couple cats that was in their 40s was like, yo, this dude can really rap.
Yeah. So check out YBN Cordae, man. I really like that kid. I like Melly too from New York. I don't know why, man.
I'm not hip. You gotta send me some stuff.
Melly can rap. But YBN Cordae, Melly, and then something that a young head could listen to and appreciate. How deep we going? How far?
It don't matter, man. It's up to you to answer.
I mean, if you haven't checked out Scarface The Fix, that album changed my life. I would recommend Scarface The Fix. I think we're in a lot right now where a lot of rappers are kind of in their feelings. A lot of youth are trying to find their way and dealing with mental health and being more open about that. And I think Scarface throughout his career has always kind of talked about kind of his own depressions and his own thoughts.
Most
and,
definitely.
Relationships with God and just how to make things right within himself and his community. So I think the Fix is a classic album.
Dope, most definitely. It's ironic that you brought up Face. I went to one of the Legends of Hip Hop shows recently, and he was on stage rapping Tupac lyrics, and he was like, I'm not taking shots at anybody, but just understand when Pac recorded this, he was 23. When I recorded this, I was 23. Saying it to challenge yourself. Don't let age be an excuse for not making timeless music. And I thought that was real. Yo, I appreciate you, brother.
Hold on, one more album. Now that you mentioned
one
Pop.
more.
Because I don't know, to me, they're like popular albums, but again, if you're young, if you haven't listened to Machiavelli,
yeah.
Again, it's like the perfect mix of anger, but clear, very conscious thoughts. Where we are as people of color in this world and fighting against the system. Machiavelli also.
It's funny. Me Against the World is my favorite Pac album, but I think Machiavelli is the best Pac album. Yeah, for sure.
And one time too. And everybody who said that Pac can't rap, listen to Me Against the World. Listen to that last verse on Me Against the World, man. Like, that dude, the alliteration, the shit. Pac was an MC,
First
man.
and foremost, and you tell me if I'm wrong, and we'll end it on this because we'll be talking all day here. I feel like rappers who can put together concise verses without the use of a ton of similes and metaphors are often the best rappers because that's easiest to do.
Yeah.
It's easy to be like, this is like something or comparing yourself to something. If you can weave a story and make, that's Jay does that brilliantly.
Yeah.
Like, so I think when you don't rap like what we consider to be a great rapper, but you can tell stories and you can weave things in and there are little gems hidden in the line. To me, those are the best MCs.
Yeah, nah, man. I think like one of my favorite lines is when Faith said, "I wish that I could save the world, but I'm a dreamer." Yeah. I don't know why. That's not ill. Or yesterday I tweeted that when Drake said, "Free all my who got caught with it."
Yeah.
R.I.P. to all my who got caught without it. I'm like, damn, that's
because
such
it's
an ill
real.
line. Like, and it's not it's not a metaphor, it's not a simile. So yeah, there's
We
other
was talking
modes of
about
lyricism.
3,000. Like, my favorite 3,000 line is, "Faith is what you make it." That's the hardest shit since MC Ren. Because Ren was the hardest motherfucker in the world to us when NWA was popping, and faith is what you make. Come on, man. It's those lines that don't have to be super complex as long as it touches your soul. That's why worldwide people love Pac, even though they say he wasn't the most lyrical. When it touches your soul, that's what you remember.
Right. No,
Bro,
absolutely.
I appreciate your time, man. Please tell people where to follow you and not troll you on social media.
Or troll me, man. Rob Markman, at Rob Markman, ROBMARKMAN. That's everywhere. Facebook is Rob Markman Music. But yeah, man, you hit me up, man. Man, I'm glad we got to do this, bro. Like, again, I have a lot of respect and love and admiration for you, man. And like I said, I always looked up. I don't know if I quite would have had made it through. Double XL was hard.
It was.
And I don't know if I quite would have made it through that era without kind of just looking at you and like how cool you was able to handle things, and when the bullshit would come, you would just kind of let it roll off and turn around and just focus on doing what you love, man. Like, I really looked at that when I first got into that building.
Yo, much love and respect to you as well, my brother. I always appreciate you, man. Keep doing what you're doing, man. I'm a friend and a fan, bro.
Peace,
straight up. We appreciate y'all listening. We appreciate y'all supporting us. Make sure that you follow us, Day One Radio, on all your social media. If you are in Atlanta or you want to go ahead and rush up the vote, go to creativeloafing.com and vote for us for best podcast in Atlanta in the arts and culture section. We'll see you next week with another dope show. Peace.